Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to spend a few minutes showing you how to make a visually effective PowerPoint. So I'm just going to share a couple tools and tricks with you in case you're not familiar with them yet. So as you go to open up a new PowerPoint and create that, you can start off either with a blank slate, which is what I often do, or you can go ahead and pick one of the design themes. So let's just say we go ahead and pick this one. One of the things I will say to you is that you want to make sure that your design theme is pretty simple and doesn't distract from your presentation. So for instance, if I come up here and click this one, this has got a lot of background to it that's probably not relevant to my presentation. So you want to be careful about choosing backgrounds such as that. You may want to go more with a simple background. You can change colors over here if you want, and when you click down over here, you'll see that there's different color schemes. So that'll change actually the different color fonts and charts and graphs and things that you do. So they make their first recommendation there, but if you need to change that, you certainly can. And you can change designs just by clicking here to see some other themes that are available and how your presentation might look if you chose a different theme. So, okay, let's just go back to the original theme that I chose. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the home page, to the main page, and this is where you click to enter a new slide. And when you enter a new slide, you'll see that there's a variety of different ways that you can, layouts that you can choose from. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose the standard one for a moment. When you pick the standard one that has one big box on the bottom, one of the things you'll remember is that images are very powerful. So you want to think about incorporating images. So you can see from here that there's either pictures you can use yourself, there's online pictures, videos. You want to be careful about videos unless it's really completely directly relevant to what you're doing. But you could go ahead and grab some pictures, and if it's relevant, you could go ahead and search and go ahead and add that into the document. So, if we did learning, for instance, we might come up with something. So some of them are going to be a little bit more clip art, depending on what you want to use. There's a lot of different ones. Maybe we're going to talk about e-learning. We could go ahead and insert that, and it would go ahead and fill up the space on the bottom. So oftentimes very good slides are slides where we are talking about, maybe just a quick topic on the top. So perhaps we were doing the benefits of e-learning, and you can take that title, you could keep it left, you could center it, you can obviously do what you'd like with it. So that's one way to add images. But a lot of students are familiar with that, but are not familiar with the other methods that you can use also. And one of my favorites really is SmartArt. So right here, you'll see you can go ahead and insert SmartArt. You can also do all this up here through the insert button. You'll see the SmartArt there. They both take you to the same spot. Same thing for the pictures. You could go ahead and grab pictures up there as well. But if we go ahead and click on the SmartArt, you will see that there are a variety of ways that you can package your material. So maybe you don't really have a great image that's attached to the content that you're trying to communicate, but you don't want to just use bullet points because, as we know, those are not really the most visually effective way. So then it depends on what you're trying to communicate. Are you sharing a process? So for instance, is it a study and you're telling us about what happened first, second, and third? If so, maybe you want to grab a slide such as this one, and you might want to put what happened first. And then you just go ahead and hit enter to get to the second one. Actually, if you do that, you're going to add one, but if you could do that, go third, and then if you hit enter, it'll keep adding more. And if you don't want it, just go ahead and hit backspace. And let's say you didn't need all of them, you just would click on the text here and hit backspace, and that would take care of it for you. So you could go ahead and kind of do something in terms of a timeline. Now, if you discover, this isn't really communicating the information the way I'd like, you can just go ahead and right-click and then hit Change Layout. Now you're back to the main screen again, and maybe it really would be better communicated if I put it into, more of a maybe visual bulleted list, something like that. So you could go ahead and use a variety of tools here, and it really does depend on what you're trying to communicate. So if you're using, something that you're trying to maybe communicate the relationship of different things, you might want to use this one. Maybe two different factors really impact an outcome. If that's the case, then you could go ahead and click that. The first and the second kind of led to the third concept. So you see how these are really very great tools. Now I'm going to say I don't really like the colors of this. I think that the colors aren't standing out. So you can go ahead and go up here and change the colors if you'd like. So it's going to change the colors of the bubbles for you by kind of scrolling down and deciding what you like. So maybe you want it to be a different color to kind of give it a little bit more pop, and that would change that for you. And it should change it on all of them. Now if we go ahead and delete this one, another tool is the graphs. So making visual graphs is very, very powerful. And you can see there's a whole lot of different types of graphs. Again, you need to think about what's best going to communicate the information. Probably the bar graph is going to be one of the more common ones, so we'll go ahead and stick with that one. And when you go ahead and click on that, what's going to happen is the standard one pops up, and then you need to change the labels and the data points. So what you could do is you could change, so maybe you're going to compare males and females on something. And maybe this is on some type of behavior, and maybe there's some kind of scale, or maybe it's a test and how they performed on a test or behavior. We'll just go ahead and just arbitrarily throw some numbers in here. I'll just go ahead and make that even just for fairness. And then now you're looking, you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't need all the other ones. So the ones that you don't need, you basically just have to right click on it and then delete it, and it'll say, do you want to delete the column or the row? I'm talking about the row, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I will also get rid of this row because I don't need it. Okay, that row is gone also. I need this behavior one, but maybe I don't need, maybe I do have two behaviors. So maybe behavior 2 is another one, depending on how much content you have to share. And maybe for behavior 2, everybody's in the 85. But maybe I do not need the behavior 3. So then I would go ahead and just delete that one. And of course, if you need to add, it works the same way. You go ahead and right click and then just do insert. And then you could either insert a column to the right or to the left of wherever you are. So now once you have that, now you have a chart. You can exit out of the chart and you can see how you're visually displaying the behaviors. One of the things I like to do is add the data labels. So if you click on this and you right click, you'll see that there's a little button here that lets you add the data labels, and that way you have the number right at the top so folks aren't trying to find it. You'll have to do it for each bar that you have. Add data labels, and then you'll have that there. Again, I'm not really finding these colors to be the best. In fact, I think I'm going to just change the design overall and see if I can find a better design that I like. That one looks a little too busy to me, so I'm not going to choose that one. But let's go ahead and see if there's another one that seems kind of simple here that you could actually just scroll over to see. And this one actually, even though it's a black background, look at how much more pop there is to the colors, and it seems very clear. So again, when you're making PowerPoint slides, you often want to have a title to the slide, and then mostly you want to have an image, a chart, a SmartArt, something that organizes it. Now, you may want to also include, perhaps this chart is helpful, but you want to also have some other content. So remember, there's a couple of ways you can do that. If you go back to, let's see, we want to go back to the home page here. You can go to the layout, which is maybe I want to take this and I want to shift it so that half of it is a chart, and then maybe the other half is maybe my primary message. So, so behaviors were better on the second test, whatever it is that you're saying. And again, you may want to make this bigger. You don't want to have a whole big long paragraph here. So you can go ahead and, see what size is going to work best. You might want to center that to just make it more visually appealing. So this would be a way for you to kind of highlight maybe the main finding of the chart on the right-hand side. So again, you just play around with the design to make sure the colors all work. You can look at different color schemes. Lots. You could change this. I actually think this is a little bit more popping. Maybe the gold's not the best, but you want to try to see what's going to really kind of be the clearest for folks to read. If you do have a dark background, then you're probably going to want a lighter font color to make sure that you can see it. Just kind of scroll. You can see the difference is really in the way that the colors are working or not working at communicating whatever it is that you're trying to communicate. So that one is not working. I just chose a terrible one. So we'll just go ahead and pick a different one again. Well, anyway, you get the idea that you can pick whatever. That's not good. Okay, so you could pick the color that you think works the best. So those are a couple of the tools that I would suggest using. They're pretty simple to use. Again, you can find them all under Insert, whether it's a picture, SmartArt. Now, maybe you want to draw their attention to this line here in particular. You can also insert a shape. So maybe you want to grab an arrow. And you can see there's a lot of different arrows, but maybe I'm going to grab this arrow here. I want it to face in that direction, and I just click here. And then you can see this is drawing their attention to that. And you can change the color of this. You can change the size just by dragging it. You could pick a different color if you want it to be, standing out a little bit. So those are ways to draw attention to the viewer to make sure that they're looking at the part of the chart that you want them to look at. So again, the tools that you want to think about really incorporating are SmartArt and charts. You may also use shapes and, of course, pictures. If you have something extra that you want to say and you don't want to have it be the same font, you can always use a text box. And that you can just kind of say, I want the text box over here, and this is where you can put additional information. So you could go ahead and do that. And again, you can resize that. You can say, no, I only want that to be that. No, actually I want it to be this. You could put different size fonts, etc., to kind of make it visually effective. So you can see that this kind of chart is going to be much more effective than just a whole lot of words explaining it. So, having a few words with the image is going to be a much more powerful way to communicate your idea. So I hope this quick tutorial, clearly I haven't showed you everything that's in there, but you can really see that there's a lot of great information that, great tools that you can use that really make it a much more visually effective PowerPoint. So enjoy, play around, and see what you can do to really make some amazing PowerPoints, and try to make sure that you're incorporating Mayer's multimedia principles into it, which really speak to the power of images, speak to the power of focusing on most important concepts, less is more, using simple versus complex language, so conversational language versus very technical language, unless your professor is looking for something different than that. And really drawing attention to what key points, like using arrows and things like that. All right, best of luck making your PowerPoint presentations.